Hello people of the web and welcome back to Creators Thoughts. This episode I want to talk about comments, and in particular why negative ones seem to have a greater impact on us than positive. I've experienced it in the creative industry, but examples are common throughout life. You work hard on creating a video, schedule its release, and anxiously bite your nails waiting to see what reaction it achieves. Video goes live and you watch as comments roll in. Positive praise and admiration help settle those nerves. Maybe a dozen positive comments come in, all helping to confirm that this video was a good idea. Then it happens. Lame, this idea has been done so much already. Or, your voice sounds bad and the audio levels are off. Or maybe even, ugh, you're obsessed with tea and you won't stop going on about it. First off, I'd like to address the last one. Tea is amazing, and I may find an excuse to talk about it as often as possible, but it's not because Big T has me under their thumb spreading propaganda all in an effort to get you hooked on the addictive substance. It's just amazing in so many ways. Did I mention tea is full of antioxidants? So the last one goes in one ear and out the other. No skin off my nose. But is my content stale? Are my levels off? Most people loved what I made and gave positive feedback, but the ones that impact us the most tend to be the negative voices. And as I said, this isn't limited to content creation. If I bought a suit and 100 people commented about how smart and sexy I looked, then one person pointed out that it made my backside look big, I'd be spending the day hyper aware of how my butt looked. I'm not for a moment saying that we should learn to ignore the negative. It has huge power to show us the way to better our content. I want to understand why the negative feedback holds so much power, and I hope understanding will help keep things in perspective. My theory is that we spend our lives focused on the next improvement, rarely stopping to consider the improvements we've made already, and how the improvements far outweigh that thing we haven't mastered yet. If I record a podcast and say 1,000 words without hesitation, repetition, or No, that's just a minute. I meant 1,000 words without stumbling and hitting a brick wall trying to pronounce frivolous. Frivolous. There was a time I couldn't say any words, let alone string a sentence together or even make a short speech about the power of negative comments. Do I finish recording and praise myself for a job done pretty darn well? Or do I spend half an hour obsessing on why the word frivolous sounded weird in my head, and most of my brain starts obsessing on how I stumbled rather than focus on going through the rest of my talking points? It's the latter. Focus on negative. My theory is that it's an evolutionary advantage to pay more attention to the bad than the good. A delicious and juicy pear, whilst enjoyable and a highlight of your day, doesn't deserve an equal amount of thought and consideration as the ravenous tiger sat next to the pear tree, licking his lips as he considers which limb of yours he might like to chew on first. Whilst tigers are not commonplace here in the UK, it's a hardwired trait that I think has helped us improve. Complacency often leads to stagnation, which we learn to accept and expect continuation of previous success and focus on the next area of growth. My early draft GCSE essay on Atticus Finch was legible, had some points and even some correct spelling, and yet I got a D grade. That's only 2 letters from an F, which is the equivalent of pulling out a crayon and writing "I like baked beans" 100 times on the page. I think my original effort, whilst not a perfect piece, was far closer to the eventual B+ grade that the amended version achieved than it was a madman scribble on the page. But our baseline is rarely set that low. We don't praise a student for waking up, making it to class on time, fully dressed, and with a sharpened pencil in their pocket. Doing so wouldn't allow us to find time to focus and work on areas of improvement. We live in a competitive world. If you want to be successful at anything, you have to pay attention to the negative in order to work on it. Going for a job at a bank? Well, 20 others have applied for that role. The bank is going to select the candidate that offers them the most value. Making Minecraft content for YouTube? You need to give people a reason to want to watch yours over the thousands of other channels out there. Another thought of mine is that we tend to be very critical of ourselves, and it's easy to write off the nice comments as they're just being nice. The negatives stick with us more, sometimes because deep down we've thought them too. I rarely see myself in the mirror and think, "Whoa, what a sexy man. If I were a woman and saw that, I'd be very attracted to him." But I have seen myself and thought, I don't like those stretch marks on my shoulder. Or maybe my butt is a little chunky. So the comments on how smart I looked in my suit got brushed off. But even if I saw someone glance towards my butt, my brain would read that as, they think my butt is fat too. I don't think we can silence these thoughts, and in fact I believe we need to be aware of shortcomings. How else can we work on improving them? But it's important to get an idea of perspective and bear our negative biases in mind. My question this time is, do you find yourself giving too much focus on the negative sometimes? And has there been examples that you look back on now and recognise how warped your perspective was? That's me done and only stumbled on a couple of words. But that's the episode ruined. I'm going to redo it and release this again next week, but avoiding the word frivolous. Thank you for listening. Bye bye now.